welcome back to West Mercia. I'm with the Chief Constable of West Mercia Police, Alex Murray, in the Force Control Room. Alex, on this occasion we're going to hear your thoughts on artificial intelligence, or AI, in policing, where you have recently, in the last 3 months, been appointed as the National Police Chiefs Council AI Portfolio Lead. So let's start with, what is AI?
So AI, artificial intelligence, a lot of people define it in many different ways. Machines doing jobs that often humans would do, but you could say, for example, robotic process automation is that. You could say a calculator is that. So it's just developing and developing. Ultimately, you've got sort of data science in one area, and where it overlaps with artificial intelligence is when you have algorithms or systems that learn patterns from data that give you a particular output that can improve your decision making. And often we call that machine learning, and then there's some very developed aspects of machine learning that are even more complex, called deep learning, that are much harder to understand, and that's when you move into neural networks. But we don't probably need to complicate things like that, but it's understanding patterns from data that give you an advantage in your decision making.
So when you explain it like that, it's very clear the potential benefit that there is for policing. Improving police decision making is the key there. You've just started work in the last 3 months on leading this portfolio. What have you been able to do in this first 3 months and are currently working on?
So policing and artificial intelligence are very relatable in 3 ways. The first one is everyone is interested in improving productivity. How do the taxpayer get the biggest bang for their buck from police officers and police staff? And some of the most basic concepts of AI, some would say it's not even AI, work in this space. Things like robots. And by robots we mean cursors that follow keystrokes and do things that otherwise people would have to do. So move data from here to here to here to here. You know, we call it RPA, but a robot can do that. That is a productivity improvement. Auto-redaction. So we've spoken in a previous video about data sharing and having to go through document after document, taking people's names and addresses out. That can be done by a robot or by robotic process automation. So productivity gains from AI are really key. We're not talking about replacing staff, because we've already got too much work for our staff to do anyway, so we just work with those staff in different areas. The third area, and I come back to the second area, is criminals use AI, and they use it all the time. So how do we as policing counter the criminal use of artificial intelligence? Think about generative AI and the creation of artificial child abuse imagery offline. It's illegal, but how do you tackle it? And how do you prevent that taking place? How do you prevent people using models to create child abuse imagery? Or you can think of election fraud, or you can think of harassment, alarm or distress, where your image and your voice is completely generated artificially, so someone thinks that they've got authority to get into your bank account. So how do we counter that? And then the second pillar between those two is, how do we improve our effectiveness in our decision making, which I think is really key. So police officers are making decisions all the time based on what they know, what they've learnt, and the information available to them. So let's go really conventional. Say you've got a burglary problem, you think, I need to stop that. Who are my burglars? Right, so what do? You go to intelligence, you say, who are my burglars? You look at the posters on the wall about previously convicted burglars. That is something that, for example, AI can assist with. It will look at a multiplicity of data and say who is most likely, for example, to reoffend in this area. And that's not something we use AI for at the moment. And in policing, we're really keen to be as explainable and as transparent to build trust as possible. But that's an example of effectiveness. Another one is live facial recognition. You know, that is artificial intelligence, because a computer and a screen is looking at a face, putting that face next to an image and saying, you know, this is Alex Murray from the police. He is not wanted, or he is wanted. And great, because I can't, as a human being, scan a crowd and point that out, but artificial intelligence can. And it's my job then, as a police officer that wants to build trust with the community, to say, okay, how is that process effective? What's its failure rate? What's its success rate? How am I going to speak to Alex Murray when I stop him to explain what's happened, to understand whether he is, for example, on bail for rape, or he is wanted for violence? And you know, there's been notable successes with facial recognition, and you can protect areas. You know, you could have a violence against women and girls free area with live facial recognition operating with the consent of the community, being completely transparent. So you know, if, for example, you're wanted for rape, you're going to be spotted moving into a nighttime economy where you can't prey on females.
So retaining the confidence and trust of the community is the bedrock here. That AI presents an opportunity for police and policing in the ways that you've described.
And communities, therefore.
And communities, therefore, absolutely. Looking forward over the next small number of years, we're here in the control room. Do you see there being benefits specifically to this and other police control rooms? Do you see particular benefits coming in other areas beyond the areas that you've already specifically described?
I mean, we're really at the dawn of a new industrial revolution with artificial intelligence. You know, you've had a digital revolution, and this is the next step. And the access to data to improve our decision making is really key. So someone calls through to the police. Call handlers here have got a really challenging job. They have to assimilate all that information, and they have to do a Thrive risk assessment. How risky is this? How much danger is this person in? Now, we do that based on training, but would it or would it not be helpful to have all the data associated with that individual, their network, their previous calls, the things they've said, to say this is going to be high, medium or low risk, and we should consider that. And so sometimes what people say, underpinning that, and with some of the nuances and some of the things they say, there's warning flags in there that you might miss as a human being, but artificial intelligence can throw up those flags and say, have you considered this? Have you considered this individual might be exploited or might be vulnerable because we think it's high risk? And then you as a human, you go, thanks very much for that, that's useful. Another application here might be, where do I best deploy a resource that's not allocated to answer a future call of crime? You know, where's the crime next going to take place, roughly, probabilistically? It's not Minority Report. You know, we need to park that little story and just say, where do I best position my staff to give the best response to the public? And again, AI can assist with that.
Fascinating area. So much more we could be covering, and I hope we will, on Policing TV and on Policing Insight over the coming months and beyond. However, for the time being, Chief Constable Alex Murray, here in the West Mercia Police Control Room, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.